When things are too good for too long, I start asking questions. I have sold most of my shares in the world because I'm worried about what's happening. I, I just cannot believe that people in Washington don't even pay attention. So I would buy silver today. I would not buy gold today. I mean, I am not going to sell my gold, and I hope I buy more gold, but I'm not buying now.
Okay, guys, so today we have Jim Rogers, and I'm very excited because we will discuss the state of the current economy. We will talk about commodities, gold, silver, and I will try to get some advice from Jim for young investors as well. So, Jim, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, glad. I'm delighted to be here. Extremely.
Thank you very much, Jim. So, as I've said, I would like to begin our conversation about the state of the current economy. So, what's on your mind, Jim, and what do you think is happening right now?
Well, I'm going to use the U.S. since it's the largest and most important economy, but U.S. economy has been growing since 2008, 2009. That's the longest in American history without a problem. Never before in American history have things been so good for so long. That worries me. That worries me a lot. When things are too good for too long, I start asking questions. Now, other parts of the world, the same is true. Many parts of the world have had and are having a very long period of very good times. So, except for China and maybe Uzbekistan, most of the world is doing extremely well right now, and that's worrying to me. I have sold most of my shares in the world because I'm worried about what's happening.
Okay, Jim, thanks for that. And would you be looking for recession, stagflation, or maybe something more serious like complete crash and depression?
Well, Vlad, throughout history, every few years, in American history anyway, we've had economic problems, stock market problems. It's always happened. Now, in Washington, they say, don't worry, it'll never happen again. We know what we're doing. Well, I know they don't know what they're doing, and so I worry a lot. And I'll repeat, it's never lasted this long in American history. So I know that we're getting closer to a problem. I don't know when the problem will be. It's not here yet, but I know it's going to come.
Okay, and because the bubble is so big, Jim, what do you see happening when the burst actually occurs, when the market crashes? How big and consequential do you think it's going to be?
Well, Bled, it has to be the worst in my lifetime because the period of excess, the period of good times has been so very, very long. And in the meantime, the debt has built up in a huge way. The debt numbers in America are now unbelievable. I, I just cannot believe that people in Washington don't even pay attention. But the debt numbers are so unbelievably high in the US. The next time we have a problem, it has to be a very bad problem.
And it looks like so when Trump was getting elected, he was very much about lowering the debts and having a proper budget. But that it looks like it's gone already out of the window.
The situation with Mr. Trump is he changes his mind every morning. Even more than that. Mr. Trump watches TV and then he decides whatever's hot. So I don't think we can pay too much attention to Mr. Trump. I mean, somebody like Margaret Thatcher, we knew what she thought, we knew how she thought, and probably what she would think and do. Mr. Trump doesn't have a deep underlying philosophy like some of those people. So he changes his mind all the time. It's hard to know. He doesn't know. So it's hard for anybody else to know.
Okay, Jim, and I assume your view on the dollar is quite bearish for the long term, right?
Well, I own a lot of US dollars, so I hope I'm not bearish. I I own a lot of US dollars. I expect the US dollar to continue to go up. I hope that I will be smart enough to sell the dollar at the right time. My timing is never very good, so I doubt if I will. But no, I own a lot of US dollars now.
So you're bullish on the dollar compared to other currencies, but overall, because it's still fiat, I suppose, you're still pretty much interested in converting that into tangible things when what you're saying will happen and the bubble will burst.
Well, Vlad, I know that the United States is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. No country has ever been so deeply in debt, and the situation is getting worse and worse and worse. I know that that's going to lead to big, big problems for the US dollar someday, but in the meantime, I own a lot of US dollars because when things go bad, people want to own a safe haven. Everybody thinks the US dollar is a safe haven. It's not, but people think it is. So I own a lot of US dollars. I am worried. I know there's going to come a time when I have to sell them, but at the moment I own a lot of US dollars.
Okay, that's very interesting, Jim. And so you are well known for traveling the world and understanding various countries. So, Jim, what countries are you most bullish on right now? I think you mentioned Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. Are there any other ones?
I didn't mention Kazakhstan. I did mention Uzbekistan. I am optimistic about Uzbekistan. I own shares there. I hope to be smart enough to buy more. I own shares in China. I hope I'm smart enough to buy more. But that is very hard for me to find markets now because everybody's doing so well. And when everybody's doing well, well, that worries me. I don't like to buy when everybody's happy. I like to buy when everybody's unhappy.
Hmm. Thanks for that, Jim. My question will be at the current levels, because gold performed quite well. Would you be still interested right now?
Oh, no, I own gold. I own silver. I hope I'm smart enough to buy more. If I were buying today, I would buy silver. I bought some more silver recently. I mean, gold is making all-time highs, Vlad. Silver is still down a lot from its all-time high. So I would buy silver today. I would not buy gold today. I mean, I am not going to sell my gold, and I hope I buy more gold, but I'm not buying now.
Okay, and so you have mentioned, Jim, that you sold most of your stocks, and so you would not be too interested in the mining companies at the current levels?
But I'm interested in anything where I can hopefully make some money, Vlad. But no, I do not own any mining companies of any kind, and I don't know of any that I should buy.
Okay. Um, and so, Jim, there are various views on how you would build your portfolio in the current environment. So I had guests recently where they're pretty much all in the commodities. Others would be similar to you in cash. What advice would you have for someone who's still quite young? So they're still in their well-building stage and they have to get involved in something. Of course, education is key at that age. But what advice would you have for that individual who still is hungry and wants to build portfolio even in the current environment?
Well, Vlad, if you want to be a successful investor, I will tell you, you stay with what you know. You only invest in what you know. You don't listen to other people. If you everybody knows a lot about something, I mean cars or fashion, everybody knows a lot about something, and that's how if you can be successful. If you want to be a successful investor, stay with what you know. Do not listen to other people, and whatever you know a lot about, there will be some opportunities and you will know them because that's something you know a lot about. And if you want to be successful, that's the way to do it. Now, Vlad, some people say that's boring. Okay, you want to be successful, be boring. Don't worry about being boring. Be boring and be successful.
Yes, certainly. And Jim, are there any sectors specifically that you see a lot of potential for the future that young people or even people who wants to get involved in the interesting prospect sectors should pay attention to?
Well, I mean, the world's at the moment, most of the world is having a good time and is prosperous. And so, I mean, I like to buy things that are down where people are unhappy. And there are not many of those right now. I mean, and nearly everybody's doing well. The world has had a very long period of good times led. So it's hard for me anyway to find new areas. Yes, of course, agriculture is depressed and it's probably a great place to look. I mean, I mentioned Uzbekistan before. There are a few places, but most places have had a very good time in the last few years.
Sure. And so, Jim, what advice would you have for people who are not prepared for the economic uncertainty? So maybe I was looking at the stat recently that about 60% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. So, like, that's like what is going to happen when the things are actually going to get bad?
The next time we have a problem, an economic problem in the US, I said before, it's going to be the worst in my lifetime. And that's part of the reason. I mean, most of the American people, most of the population is building up debt. They don't have many reserves. They don't have a lot of cash to fall back on. And everybody thinks things are great and there will not ever be any problems. That means that when we have problems, Vlad, they're going to be very, very serious because most people are not prepared. And when shocks come, that's what really, really hurts a lot of people.
Hmm. And Jim, so right now we're looking at this period of deglobalization with, the BRICS formation, countries trying to, lower their dollar holdings in one way to another, maybe moving to gold. Uh, do you see this as a positive, negative, or neutral for the whole world? Are you paying attention to this trend of deglobalization at all?
Well, listen, I know that the world is better off when we all travel, trade, drink beer together, have fun together, dance together. I know that we're all better off when we're friendly and interact with other people. When countries close off or when people close off, throughout history, that has led to problems. So I do not like it when you tell me people might be closing off or people might be closing down. That throughout history, that has led to problems. So what you're describing is going to mean there's a big problem coming when we have problems again. And now in Washington, they say, don't worry, we will not have problems again. So Vlad, worry. Worry a lot when people in Washington or other governments tell you not to worry. Worry a lot.
Hmm. Okay, Jim, so we're painting a pretty gloomy picture, but is there anything that excites you about the future right now?
Oh my God, the world is always very, very exciting. I explained that we're going to have serious problems when we have problems again. They'll be very, very serious. But Vlad, throughout history, when the world goes through a very bad stretch, it usually leads to opportunity. I mean, in Asia, the many countries have a word which means opportunity and disaster are the same thing. I mean, in Chinese, the character for disaster is the same as the character for opportunity. And as you well know, I mean, if there's a disaster, it's usually an opportunity for somebody. If your house burns down, it's a disaster, but somebody's going to build a new house. So somebody's pretty happy. I know that when we have problems again, they're going to be very bad, but that's going to be an opportunity for somebody. I hope that you and I are smart enough to find the opportunity.
Hmm. I hope too, Jim. I hope too. So, Jim, what do you think is the most important factor in people achieving success in life in general?
Do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, if you figure out what you love a lot and you pursue your passion, that's where you're going to be successful. And because that's what you love and you know a lot about it and you're very happy doing it. And that even if you're not successful, you don't care because you're happy. You're a happy person. So you don't care if you're as rich as Rockefeller because you're a very happy person. And being a happy person is hard to find.
Mm, for sure, yes, that's a very good one, Jim. And Jim, what would be the best advice that you have received that had the biggest effect on you personally? Maybe it was at the right time, at the right place, but what had the biggest effect that helped you in your career?
Well, the biggest, I guess, the answer to that is finding things that other people ignored. As you look out the window, there are a lot of people not who don't care about something, whatever it is. I don't know. And if you can find those areas, they're usually cheap because nobody's paying attention. And if you can find something that's cheap, where there's a lot of change, cheap and change. I guess that's the answer to that. Find something cheap with a lot of change taking place. Do your homework, do your research, and you will probably be successful.
Mm,
But find something that's cheap, and that usually means it's ignored because if people, nobody's paying attention, nobody's buying, that means it's probably cheap. And if you can find something like that where there's big change taking place, you will be successful.
mm. And Jim, would you agree with me that in a way commodities could be one of these opportunities? Now, the prices did go up quite by quite a bit recently in copper and gold and silver, but there's still a lot of opportunities. And compared to how much we need these commodities for the world to get where we want it to go, overall, people are still not interested.
Well, you said people are not interested. That's a good sign, whatever the asset is. But I mean, lead, gold is making all-time highs. Many commodities are popular. Somebody's buying a lot of this stuff. Yes, I'm optimistic about commodities. I own some, but many commodities are certainly not depressed and certainly not in the dumps. I mean, oil is extremely high historically. I own some oil, but I'm not buying oil right now. But I'm just reacting to the fact that you said commodities, well, the many commodities are popular and there may be, I mean, unpopular and there may be opportunities.
Okay, yes, sure. And Jim, is there anything else that's on your mind about economy or what's happening in the world that you think we should talk about, or maybe the audience should pay attention to?
Well, the main thing is I look out the window, Vlad, everything is good, and that is historically not good. And it means that problems are coming. We haven't, in America, we haven't had a serious problem since 2009. That's the longest in American history. But the debt in America has skyrocketed in those years. And I am saying to myself, the next time we have a problem in America, it's going to be very, very, very bad because there's been so many years of good times and the debt has gotten so unbelievably high. So if I were someone, I would be very, I would do research into the American debt situation, but the debt situation everywhere, because we're going to have a huge debt crisis in the world, sometimes in the next few years, probably started in the US, but it doesn't matter where it starts. When we have a gigantic debt problem in the world again, it's going to be very, very bad because the world, I don't think, in most of history, has seen such huge debts. And it's the whole world, nearly the whole world now.
Okay, so there's no places to hide, so it's gonna affect pretty much everyone, right?
Well, there's got to be a place to hide. I don't know where it is. If you know where it is, please tell me. I mentioned Uzbekistan, sure, but I mean, most people couldn't find Uzbekistan on the map. But there are going to be some places. I don't know, maybe becoming a potato farmer will be a great future. I don't know. I'm not going to become a potato farmer. I'm just saying there are going to be some areas, and what we need to do is find them, whether it's a country or a sector, an economic sector.
Right. So to end up, Jim, on the positive note, as you mentioned as well, after we go through it with the AI coming up, with the hopeful increase in productivity, things should still look good for the future.
Well, but yeah, that's been true throughout history. You remember electricity? When they discovered electricity, everybody was extremely excited, and they were right because it changed the world, changed everything that everybody knew. It caused great new opportunities, great new fortunes. Whenever there's a dramatic technological change, whether it's electricity or what, radio, whatever it is, it always leads to opportunities for the people who can figure it out. My problem and everybody's problem is, how do you figure it out? If it were that easy, we would all be rich. But we all have to find the new changes and the opportunities. But even then, you have to figure out the right people. I mean, electricity came along and changed everything. But a lot of people lost fortunes on electricity. Now, some people made gigantic fortunes, yes, but it's not easy. I wish it were easy. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it were easy? Cool.
Mm. Um,
I
so
guess the
Jim,
answer is we all have to watch Vlad.
um, I would like to talk about this concept of mentorship. So when you, Jim, were at the start of your career, did you have someone who helped you, who was able to give advice to you? Because I believe it's really, really important to have right people around you as well especially during difficult times, because they're the ones who can give you the right advice and push you to, to go forward and to not give up.
Well, yes, it is extremely useful to find a mentor, someone who knows a lot and is interested in you and will help you learn and will teach you. Part of the problem is, yes, they're hard to find because most people are too selfish. But even if you find somebody who knows a lot, some of what he knows is wrong, and he will teach you the wrong things. So you have to be very, very careful. Yes, there are a few geniuses in the world, but it's unlikely that we will find them. But if you can find someone who is knowledgeable, smart, and will help you learn, do everything you can to be with that person.
Yes, certainly. That's something that I have been trying to do as well, to find people that are competent in whatever area of life I'm interested to improve. And I feel like it speeds up your process in whatever part of life you want to improve. It really, really does.
Well, yes, I repeat, if you can find people like that, people who will mentor you, you're a lucky person. But do remember that even the best mentors probably will make mistakes too. So you have to learn from them, but you have to figure out your own way in the end.
100%, Jim. So, Jim, that's all the questions I have. Do you have a final word?
Be careful and be worried. Be worried. And if you're worried, you will be careful. And then you will probably be okay.
Thank you very much, Jim. And again, I really enjoyed the conversation and thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Vlad. I hope we can do it again sometime. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.